the bike won't start. I can use starter fluid and it works fine, but there's definitely a problem into the fuel system. I think I've narrowed it down, but you'll have to tune in to see. Got a nice update. Parts finally came in for the Honda. As you can see, this is what a new air filter looks like versus an old air filter, and shows just how bad it was. I want to talk about one of the things that really attracted me to this motorcycle. There was this thing that the guy referred to as the lunchbox, and it is indeed, whoop, there it is, a lunchbox. It's a Yeti lunchbox, and full in this lunchbox were some parts. It came with about 8 different spark plugs, 3 different oil filters, one's currently on the bike, brand new turn signal covers, a new sprocket, some chain links, owner's manual, and a few other small parts like a toolkit. That was what really attracted me to this bike, because not only was it $1,500 barn find, but the parts that were required to get this bike on the road were already with it, which then makes it that much cheaper. I'm not having to pay to get this bike on the road. All I've got to do is put in some legwork. Parts also finally came in, so I've got a new tire for the rear. It's a Shinko. It's a cheap tire that will get me on the road. Didn't really care about, you know, how great it was going to be, the dynamics of on road, because this is going to be a nice ride around bike that I'm not really going to use in extreme conditions. Another thing that came in, of course, was this air filter. I've got the tubes all in here. So got my new tubes, got my new rim tape, and really I'm about to start putting spark plugs in. Once I do that, I'm gonna try to take the bike on a quick test drive. I do wanna get a new chain before I start driving this thing more. But as far as getting this bike from this spot here to riding around, all I've gotta do is start doing some installation and the bike's gonna be good to go, so. Well, my entire garage smells like gasoline again, and I've made a massive mess. If you look here, that wet spot. But I think I've kind of started figuring some things out. This little bowl holds a filter for fuel, and it was just full of crumb at the bottom. I wish I would have filmed it before cleaning it. It was this gray dirt looking stuff. And so I went ahead and cleaned it out. That could have been blocking up the carburetors. The carburetors could currently be blocked up, and that might be why it's not getting fuel. I did go ahead and turn the fuel valve on. Nothing came out, and that scared me. So then I started turning over the bike, and it came pouring out with gasoline. So I know that on crank, fuel is going towards the carburetor. So need to just keep moving down the line, but that saves me kind of one thought process. The fuel valve or the fuel turn switch does work, and the tank is holding fuel, so it's getting to the cylinders. Why isn't it getting out? Why isn't it combusting without me using starter fluid? So just gotta keep moving down the line and try to figure out what might be next. Well, the bike will not start. It seems like fuel is not getting to the carburetor, so now I'm gonna do a spark plug pull and see if I can get fuel to come out of the piston or the cylinder. If fuel doesn't come out of the cylinder, then I need to go ahead and take the carburetor off, which involves probably taking the gas tank off, and it's gonna be a rough day. Confirms that no gas is getting to the cylinders, which means I need to go clean the carburetor. Engine's on run mode. Starter's on. Choke's even pulled in. I'll put the choke back out just to try to get some fuel out of it. And seems like some of the trash that was in the fuel tank has made it to the carburetor and clogged it. I genuinely can't believe a motorcycle can get so dirty. There was a hornet's nest, which is now on the floor. And there was another hornet's nest inside this plenum. And now, of course, the pieces of it have fallen into the carburetor as soon as I've taken the air intake off. So definitely gonna have to just keep going on this carburetor, no matter how miserable it gets. You gotta think all this hoses are 40 years old, 30 years old. So no upside yet, but gonna keep moving. Bad just seems to keep on getting worse. What's happening now, I have like 30-year-old plastics on this bike. So all of the fairings, as I take them apart, there's all these little tabs and all of them are broken. And then these are coming unglued. I've glued that side back together, but the other side I'm gonna have to re-glue. Ignore just how janky I'm holding this tank up. I just filled it with gas as soon as I figured out that the carburetor's clogged. So I don't want to drain all this fuel from it. If I can dig into the carb while still having that kind of off to the side, save me a bunch of time and the leaked gasoline, because there's no way to drain that without leaking it. All these screws are into rubber grommets that have just turned to dust. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm doing with these rubber grommets. It'll probably end up with me having to zip tie it and then buy new fairings, install the new fairings. I did even check the fuses to make sure that that wasn't why I wasn't having, I was having fuel issues. I know that the fueling on this carburetor, that's based off of vacuum. It has nothing to do with fuses, but I had to check everything. I'm kind of deep in this motorcycle right now. It's getting a bit hairy. I've got rags and all the things just to keep any of the dust that's all over this motorcycle. You can't even tell just how filthy it is. Let me see if I can grab something. If you can see just how dirty this motorcycle is. Look, it's just all caked on. There was a bunch of dirt divers and hornet's nest all over the bike. I'm gonna do some cleaning. One of the things I bought recently was a can of brake clean as I knock it over. So lots of cleaning to do on the bike. This bike is a lot more than I thought it was gonna do. If you could tell by my first video, I really thought that it was gonna be, all right, put gas in it, change the oil, do spark plugs, and have a perfectly working bike, and that has not been the case. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Get out there and ride.